Good morning. After a video last week about supercharging, I had a very concerning comment about how if we have a 16 stall, 250 kilowatt supercharger, that's using up more power than an entire factory would. So we're going to run back up to the supercharger and show why that's not the case. And also, it's Wednesday morning. I haven't plugged in since Friday, and we'll get to that and the reason for it in a little bit. So let's head up to the supercharger through the snow. So despite my best efforts from not plugging in since Friday morning, it's 5 days later and I was hoping I'd get some more phantom drain. I parked it after driving through a snowstorm that day at about 69-70%. We're down to 55 now after I've been preconditioning this morning. We're going to choose the Bloomington Supercharger. Looks like the roads are pretty busy after the snow, so we'll see what we find. I'd like to get there with a good low state of charge. All right, welcome to North Branch. We got here with 4%, and I was originally going to go to Bloomington, but would have got there, did pass by that supercharger at 51%. Not a great example for what I'm trying to show today. Then navigated to Maple Grove. I was going to get there with 33%, so decided to come all the way up here to North Branch so I'd get it here with a good low state of charge. So let's plug in. All right, we will get plugged in here. I don't think I'm close enough. There's quite a bit of snow built up here. Will we make it? All right, so it takes a couple seconds to communicate, and that's telling it the car can start drawing power. So although these cabinets are all 250 kilowatt capable, until the car asks for it, they're not actually drawing any power. So these are just sitting here, and obviously that one won't be used as there's an ice car parked at it. And as we get inside, we can see right away we bumped up to 98 kilowatts, now 100 kilowatts. We are very low, and I'm actually going to set the charge limit all the way up to 100. And it says this will take longer, but we knew that going in. So we're at 107 kilowatts right away. It is 11:21. I'm going to set up the GoPro so we can capture this entire charge, and I'll catch up with you in the other camera. I'm going to try to keep track of this and show you a graph at the end as we go. We are 5 minutes in. So we started in that 100 kilowatt range and ramped up to about 237 kilowatts at our max. And by 5 minutes, we were already down to 193 kilowatts. So we went up, hit that peak, and then are already coming down, tapering down pretty substantially. But it is 14 degrees, even though we did precondition. But we really aren't drawing. We didn't even hit 250 kilowatts. And already we're tapering down, although we have gained a good amount of range. So this kind of addresses the comment I got last week, and let me read that for you. Are you serious? 16 250 kilowatt chargers in one station? That amount of electricity is huge. Massive. For example, a large factory, like one of the major tissue and paper towel manufacturers I work for, has a service entrance of 1,600 amps at 600 volts. That works out to 960,000 watts, but they'll never draw that much, not even close at full production. 16 times 250 is 4,000, so that's 4 million watts. Over 4 times as much as a giant factory. I don't understand how we're ever going to make a power grid big enough to switch everyone over from fossil fuels. I call BS and say it's impossible. We'll be driving no cars at all at the rate things are going. So obviously that sounds pretty dire, right? But like the outlets in your house, you're not drawing power from them if nothing is plugged in and requesting power. So just like the 100 stall superchargers in California, unless they're all being used and all being used to the max, which is highly unlikely, it's never going to draw that much in the real world. As we continue to charge, it's going to taper down lower and lower, especially after 80 and 90%. I'll show that, even though I would never really charge that far unless I was in the complete boondocks. But I want to show you this to show how much energy we're actually taking in and how that pattern goes. So if a car's here for 30 minutes, it's not pulling 250 kilowatts for that 30 minutes. But speaking of 30 minutes, it's now 11:30, so we've been charging for 10 minutes, and we're up to 42% at 121 kilowatts. So already tapered down significantly, but we've gained quite a bit of range back. And normally during this time, I would go in, use the restroom, get a snack. Because I wanted to be here for this whole test, I did that before I plugged in. So unlike pumping gas, I wouldn't be sitting here most of the time when charging. But I tend to do that a lot for YouTube. The other big misconception I wanted to bring up was home charging, and there's been a meme and plenty of Facebook posts that have been shared with me about how if everybody switches to electric vehicles, the grid won't be able to handle it on that end because everybody's going to be charging at home every night. So the worry is you get a couple electric vehicles on a block and pretty soon it's brownouts all over. Charging overnight is a lot slower intentionally, and you can slow it down as much as you need. Also, the concept most people have in their minds is that you would be charging from 0 to 100% every night, and everyone would need to do that. Like I said before we left home, I unplugged Friday morning with 80%, did my errands and things, and haven't charged since. That's 5 days without charging. Now, I didn't need to drive a lot, but only minor driving got me down to 55% when we left this morning. But on a usual night, I'm only replacing about 20% of my battery if I'm plugged in. Some people go days without charging at all, and some people just replenish that 20%. And if you're doing that over the course of a whole night, that's really not a big power draw. So I did respond to that commenter with basically what I'm going to show you in this video, but I really want to make sure it's visible and I can make it obvious. Another great point that someone else commented, Ashelm56, part of their reply I really want to focus on is in that concern for the grid is that they can gradually scale up the grid as demand increases, just like they did when central air became more commonplace, long before EVs were around. And so that's something I think is important to remember. Grid operators have been through this before. They've seen this coming and they know how to plan for it. They're watching the trends and have been for at least 5 years. And everyone I've talked to seems like, yeah, it's a challenge, but it's not anything that's going to overwhelm us. We're now at 11:35, 15 minutes in, and we're at 55%, down to 98 kilowatts coming in. So in 15 minutes on a 14-degree Fahrenheit day, we replaced half our battery. For most people, that would be plenty to get back on the road. But we're going to stick it out and show you just how much it does taper to the end. We're just a little over a half hour through here, and we're at 82% now and tapered down to 50 kilowatts. So most people would be on their way, again, unless you're really in the boondocks or the weather is really, really terrible. And again, because this tapers down, it's saying 25 minutes remaining to get from 83 to 100%. And as the energy tapers down, we're using less and less. So this station, although occupied, is not coming anywhere near 250 kilowatts. And again, I'm the only one here at an 8-stall supercharger. So the only power this station is using right now is 48 kilowatts now to fill up my battery more than it would need to. All right, we're going to have some snowplow noise here, but we just hit 90% right at 12 o'clock. So 40 minutes to get from 5% to 90%. And as I said before, I'd be on my way by now. At 90%, we were down to 36 kilowatts. We're now down to 31. So again, it's that gradual taper. We're taking up a spot, but using very little power. So I just pulled off at about 46 minutes at 94%. I was going to keep going, but the other spots of the supercharger are not well plowed out right now, and I was right in the guy's way. But hopefully this gives you a good enough sense of what the typical power draw, at least on a cold day, from a vehicle is. Even though I preconditioned, we only hit that 237 kilowatt level for a couple minutes. In better weather, we've seen people get even a little over 250 kilowatts for a few minutes. But again, it's a few minutes out of a total session. And again, most of these aren't being used 24 hours a day at full power. So just wanted to clear that up. It sounds like a ton of power is constantly going out of these things, but unless someone's plugged in and at a low state of charge, these pedestals are not putting out that maximum rate. Most people on a trip will get to a supercharger with, 15 to 20%, never see that super high state of charge, and leave about 80%. So not filling up their entire battery each time at full power. And we get a bonus of seeing how they clear out the superchargers from snow. So I hope this made sense. If it didn't, or if I missed something, feel free to add a comment down below. If you enjoyed this, please like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. Thanks a ton for watching. I do really appreciate it. Have a great day, happy road tripping, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks.